People know more about hypertrophy training than ever before. Yet most grow less muscle than lifters from 50 years ago. The modern bodybuilder drowns in studies, spreadsheets, and optimization debates. The old-school bodybuilder walked into the gym with a notebook and a plan. One group chases a perfect method. The other group executed an imperfect one consistently for decades. Science-based training gave us precision. Old-school bodybuilding gave us conviction. And conviction without perfect knowledge often beats knowledge without execution. By reason 5, you'll understand why the methods you abandon might be the ones you need. Let's break down why old-school bodybuilding fundamentals still produce better physiques than most modern approaches. Reason number 1, progressive overload was lived, not theorized. Old-school lifters didn't debate progressive overload in forum threads. They lived it like paying rent. Every week, something had to improve. The spiral notebook came to every session. Last week's numbers were written in ink. This week's numbers had to beat them. Adding 2.5 pounds to the bar wasn't disappointing. It was a victory worth logging. The culture treated strength gains as non-negotiable. Miss a progression, and you felt behind. Hit a progression, and you earned your week. The method was simple but brutal in its consistency. Same exercise, same form, add weight or add reps. When weight couldn't increase, reps did. When reps maxed out, weight went up and reps reset. This is double progression before YouTube gave it a name. The overload wasn't always weight either. Stricter reps, deeper range, cleaner pauses, all counted as progress. The logbook proved it. A training partner would ask one question every session. What did you do last week? If you didn't know, you weren't serious. Modern lifters have access to periodization science and optimal volume research. Yet many change programs before overload can compound. They debate rep ranges instead of adding reps. They switch exercises when progression slows instead of fighting through plateaus. Old school didn't search for the best plan. They executed one. The difference between knowing overload exists and forcing it weekly separates built physiques from educated ones. That notebook with tiny notes like bar felt heavy or slept 4 hours did more than any app tracking optimal stimulus to fatigue ratio, because it measured the only thing that mattered. Did you beat last week? Progressive overload was the religion, but effort was a daily prayer. Reason number 2, effort was mandatory, not optional. Old school training assumed maximum intensity by default. Walking into the gym meant working close to failure, not because a program prescribed it, because the culture demanded it. True training partners enforced this. They spotted yelled cues and called out lazy reps immediately. Sets ended when the muscle quit, not when discomfort arrived. The difference between pain and danger was respected, but the line between hard and comfortable didn't exist. This wasn't violence or ego. It was a job requirement. Pre-contest pump work wasn't entertainment. It was proof you could contract a muscle under fatigue until it screamed. If you could talk after a set, it wasn't hard enough. Breath became the timer. Gyms were smaller communities. Sandbagging meant everyone knew. The quiet judgment of veterans sitting nearby created pressure no app notification can replicate. Effort wasn't tracked by RIR estimates. It was witnessed by people who knew the difference. Modern science-based training optimizes variables beautifully. Rest periods, frequency, volume landmarks, all evidence-backed. But these plans often assume intensity will happen automatically. They don't account for the human tendency to stop at uncomfortable instead of impossible. A spreadsheet can't force you to grind the last rep. A training partner refusing to help until you finish it clean absolutely can. Science can measure fatigue markers and calculate proximity to failure. Old school demanded you find failure, then push past it with force reps or drop sets. Not every session, but enough sessions that your body had no choice but to adapt. The modern lifter has better program design. The old school lifter had better effort enforcement. One creates potential, the other creates growth. But effort alone isn't enough without intelligent volume management. That's where feedback replaced formulas. Reason number 3, volume was self-regulated by recovery, not spreadsheets. Old school bodybuilders used biofeedback before it had a trendy name. They adjusted volume based on what their body reported, not what a template commanded. If the pump felt dead, they left early. If strength dropped session to session, they pulled back. This was auto-regulation without the acronym. No one called it that. They called it paying attention. Recovery signals were simple. Can you match last week's top set? Yes means continue. No means something's wrong. Sleep, stress, or volume pushed too far. Deloads existed. They just weren't scheduled 8 weeks in advance. A coach would notice flat performance and say one sentence: take it easy this week. That was a deload. 2 or 3 days of moderate work, then back progression. Some lifters rotated hard and easy days intuitively. Mondays heavy pressing, Wednesdays light pump work, Fridays max effort again. They didn't know about stimulus to fatigue ratios. They knew their joints felt angry after 3 hard sessions in a row. Contrast this with modern volume prescriptions. 12 to 20 sets per muscle group per week. Backed by research, absolutely. But the research studies controlled populations with managed stress and monitored recovery. Your spreadsheet doesn't know you worked 70 hours last week. It doesn't know your sleep dropped to 5 hours 3 nights straight. It still prescribes the same volume. Old school training treated recovery like a signal, not a guess. The body told them when to push and when to back off. They listened. This feedback loop kept them training for decades without chronic injuries. Modern optimization can sometimes ignore the human inside the program. Volume targets become goals instead of guidelines. Hitting the number matters more than whether the number was appropriate. Old school volume was messy and individual, but it kept people healthy and progressing long term. And during those sessions, they weren't just moving weight. They were learning to feel it. Reason number 4, mind-muscle connection was trained before it was measured. Old school bodybuilders didn't just lift weight. They practiced control like musicians practicing scales. Posing wasn't vanity. It was neuromuscular training. Learning to flex a muscle on command without weight built the nerve pathways. Then adding resistance made those pathways fire harder. Daily posing sessions taught lat spreads, bicep peaks, and quad separations. This transferred directly to training. When you can flex your lats standing still, you can feel them contract during rows. Isolation exercises were approached differently. The weight was secondary. The tension placement was primary. Slow, controlled reps on cable flies until pecs turned on. Light dumbbell rows with elbow path adjusted until lats engaged fully. This wasn't accidental. It was deliberate skill development. Touch cues helped. Tapping a muscle to wake it up before a set. Mirrors provided feedback, not for vanity, but for checking whether the right muscle was working. Pre-exhaust methods existed, not because studies proved them optimal, because isolating a muscle before a compound lift made it impossible to ignore. Modern training has EMG research showing optimal exercises per muscle group. That's valuable information. But EMG graphs don't teach you how to feel your lats. They show which exercises activate the most on average. Old school training taught the skill of creating tension where you wanted it. This takes time. Hundreds of controlled reps, focus attention, patience with light weight until the movement clicks. People chase optimal exercises now, but they never learn control. They pile on weight before developing the skill to direct it. The mind-muscle connection isn't just a feeling. It's a trained ability to recruit fibers intentionally and fatigue a target muscle before surrounding helpers take over. Old school built this through practice. Science explained it decades later. But the best stimulus isn't what looks good on paper. It's what lands where it's supposed to. And old school lifters got really good at landing tension exactly where they wanted it. They built this skill because their programs demanded it. Every physique had weak points, and weak points couldn't hide. Reason number 5, training was built around weak points, not templates. Old school physiques were customized projects. The mirror decided the program, not a PDF. If a pose failed on stage, that became the next training block. Lagging calves? Add a second calf session. Rear delts disappearing in back poses? Extra rear delt work gets priority. This wasn't random. It was strategic individualization. Training matched the body you had, not the body the template assumed. Specialization phases were common. Extra arm day for 30 days. Extra hamstring volume because side photos look flat. Exercise selection matched individual structure. Long-limbed lifters found movements that worked for their leverages. Short-limbed lifters did the same. Hip anatomy dictated squat width. Shoulder mobility dictated pressing angles. Cookie-cutter programs didn't survive contact with real bodies. Serious lifters modified every routine immediately. Classic magazines gave templates. Nobody followed them exactly. Modern science-based templates are built from research averages. The problem? You're not average. Your leverages, insertions, recovery capacity, and weak points are unique. Copying a template designed for average responders ignores your specific needs. Old school didn't have studies, but they had mirrors and posing practice. They knew exactly which muscles lagged, and they attacked those gaps relentlessly. A guy who never photographed well from the side would hammer hamstrings twice weekly. Someone whose lats wouldn't flare in a back pose added a second back movement immediately. This approach requires honesty. It requires admitting what's lagging and prioritizing it over what's already strong. It also requires patience. Bringing up a weak point takes months of focused attention. But old school bodybuilders understood something modern lifters forget. Your physique is only as impressive as your weakest muscle group. Templates build generic strength. Customization builds complete physiques. Old school built bodies, not routines. They understood that progression matters. But how you create tension during that progression determines where growth happens. Reason number 6. Time under tension was earned through control, not timers. Old school lifters didn't count seconds during reps. They counted tension quality. Controlled eccentrics weren't prescribed by a 4-second tempo. They happened because slowing down kept the stimulus in the target muscle. Pauses appeared where they mattered. Peak contraction on curls. Deep stretch on flies. Not because science said to, because you could feel the difference. Cheating reps existed, but they were used strategically. A little body English extended a set past strict failure, then back to strict reps on the next set. This wasn't sloppy training. It was advanced intensity technique. Mechanical drop sets happened before the term existed, changing leverage mid-set to keep tension when strength failed. Partial reps at the end for extra pump and burn. All of this created deep muscular fatigue without formal fatigue models. They understood fatigue intuitively. Your muscle quit when it couldn't maintain tension anymore. Modern tempo prescriptions can be useful. 3-second eccentrics, 1-second pause, 2-second concentrics. All evidence-based for hypertrophy. But rigid tempo rules can also become choreography instead of stimulus. When following a timer, you might slow down reps that should be explosive, or speed up reps that need more control. Old school reps looked slow because they were hard, not because they were scripted. The weight dictated the speed. Tension dictated the control. Sets ended when the muscle quit, not when the clock ran out. This approach required feel. You had to learn the difference between controlled descent and falling weight, between explosive intent and jerky momentum, between a peak squeeze that creates tension and a lockout that removes it. These distinctions don't come from reading tempo protocols. They come from thousands of reps done with attention. Old school training forced this learning because there were no shortcuts, no tempo apps, no detailed prescriptions, just a barbell, the muscle, and the awareness of whether tension stayed or left. Tension isn't a tempo. It's a fight. Every rep is resistance against gravity and fatigue. Win that fight with control, and growth follows. And growth requires recovery. But recovery in old school training looked nothing like modern optimization. Reason number 7. Recovery was earned through discipline, not optimization. Old school recovery was boring. Sleep, food, and routine. That's why it worked. No apps tracking sleep scores. No wearables measuring HRV. No advanced biohacks. Just 8 hours of sleep treated as non-negotiable. Going to bed at the same time. Waking up at the same time. Protecting sleep like it mattered, because it did. Meals were consistent. The same staples rotated weekly. Predictable timing. repeatable portions. This wasn't exciting. It was effective. Traveling meant packing food. Restaurants weren't macro-friendly in 1970. So lifters brought chicken and rice in Tupperware before anyone called it meal prep. The discipline wasn't glamorous. It was mechanical, eating for results, not for entertainment. Treating diet like a schedule, not a mood. Training consistency mattered more than training perfection. Missing sessions was unacceptable. Life happened, but the gym still got 4 or 5 days weekly. For years, for decades, active recovery existed without branding, walking, light pump work, stretching, nothing fancy, just movement that helped instead of hindered. The old school approach to recovery was simple: behave like an adult, sleep enough, eat enough, don't miss workouts, don't party every weekend. That's it. Contrast this with modern recovery optimization: creatine, beta-alanine, sleep supplements, cold plunges, red light therapy, massage guns, all potentially helpful. None replace the basics. People buy recovery tools while sleeping 5 hours. They track biometrics while eating inconsistently. They research optimal supplementation while skipping meals. Old school didn't recover because they optimized. They recovered because they behaved. The discipline was the protocol, and that discipline was enforced by more than willpower. It was enforced by environment. Reason number 8, gym culture created accountability science can't replicate. Culture is a multiplier. It turns a good plan into a brutal plan. Old school gyms had unspoken rules. Re-rack everything. No excuses. No phone talk. Deep squats, strict presses, honest curls. These standards weren't written. They were enforced through quiet judgment. Training partners created accountability. Rivalries without hate. He beat my numbers last week. That meant something. Mentorship happened naturally. Older lifters corrected form without asking. Called out ego lifting immediately. Taught patience with progression. The power of being seen changed everything. You train harder when witnessed by people who know the difference between hard and fake hard. A quiet nod from a veteran after a brutal set meant more than 1,000 Instagram likes. Training partners refused to let you quit early, not through cruelty, through expectation. The gym had a reputation. You either added to it or got pushed out. This social pressure created effort levels no app can replicate. Modern training is efficient. Headphones, program workout, execute, leave. But training alone removes accountability. Online validation feels good, but doesn't create the same pressure as real gym respect. Someone complimenting your physique in person after months of watching you grind hits different than comments from strangers. The Iron Family kept people consistent for decades. Friendships formed through shared suffering. Rivalries that pushed both people higher. Culture made effort automatic. Science-based training provides better program design. But gym culture provides better execution. One plans a stimulus. The other ensures the stimulus actually happens. Old school gyms were environments where mediocrity felt uncomfortable. Excellence felt normal. That environment elevated everyone inside it. And part of that environment was simplicity. Not because they couldn't handle complexity, but because complexity often kills momentum. Reason number 9. Simplicity prevented analysis paralysis. Old school lifters had fewer choices. That became their advantage. Limited equipment forced mastery. Same bench, same bar, same dumbbell for years. Exercise rotation was slow. They stuck with movements long enough to get good at them. Skill compounding requires time. Switching exercises every month prevents that compounding. Nutrition was simpler. Fewer products. More food. More consistency. Protein, carbs, fats. Eat enough. Repeat. Less content consumption meant less doubt. No algorithm feeding conflicting advice. No new study every week claiming the previous study was wrong. No influencer wars over optimal training methods. Just a few trusted sources. A coach, a training partner, maybe one magazine. That's it. Do the work became a literal motto. Not because they were anti-intellectual, because they understood something modern lifters forget. Knowing doesn't equal doing. Complexity doesn't equal results. Modern bodybuilding science is incredible. We know more about hypertrophy mechanisms than ever, but that knowledge creates a problem. Decision fatigue. Which program? Which split? Which exercises? Which rep range? Which periodization model? The options overwhelm. And overwhelmed people quit. Or they constantly switch methods before any method can work. Old school lifters mastered basics through repetition. The same incline dumbbell press for years. Improving, adding weight, adding reps, building skill, building strength, building size. Many classic routines were variations of fundamentals. Press, row, squat, curl, extension. That's it. Thousands of sets over thousands of sessions. Simplicity didn't limit them. It freed them. Freed them from decision paralysis. Freed them to focus on execution instead of optimization. And execution determines results. Which brings us to the final reason. The ultimate filter old school training used. Reason number 10. Results were the only credential that mattered. Old school training judged methods by outcomes. If a technique built multiple impressive physiques, it stayed. If it only worked in theory, it disappeared. Proof in the mirror was a feedback loop. Practical results trumped theoretical explanations. Coaches earned trust through their athletes' physiques, not through credentials, not through published papers, through visible, repeatable success. This created a brutal meritocracy. The method survived because they worked, not because someone famous endorsed them, not because a study validated them, because real people trying them got real results. Old school didn't debate principles endlessly. They tested principles through consistent application. A lifter would copy the strongest guy's basics, not the loudest guy's explanation. Technique corrections came in one sentence, not a lecture. Just keep your elbows here. That's it. Try it. If it works, keep it. If it doesn't, adjust. Interestingly, most science-based principles actually matched old school practice. Progressive overload? They did it. Sufficient volume? They hit it. Proximity to failure? They lived there. Consistency over time? Decades of it. The difference wasn't the principle. The difference was a lack of argument about the principles. Modern lifters confuse knowing with doing. They collect information instead of collecting workouts. They optimize variables instead of executing basics. Old school understood that credentials can shield bad execution. A degree doesn't make you grow. Training does. This outcome-based filter kept old school bodybuilding honest. No hiding behind complexity. No excusing lack of results with, I'm optimizing. Your physique told the truth. Your strength told the truth. Everything else was noise. And that honest feedback loop forced people to stick with what worked long enough to prove it worked. Not 3 weeks. Not 3 months. 3 years. 5 years. 10 years. Principles live long enough to become proof. Modern bodybuilding science gave us precision. Old school bodybuilding fundamentals gave us conviction. One maps the perfect path. The other walks an imperfect path until it becomes perfect through repetition. The lifters who grew most weren't the ones with the best information. They were the ones who executed decent information relentlessly for decades. Science explains why training works. Culture ensures training happens. Old school had both. Principles outlast trends because principles survive contact with reality. And reality doesn't care about your credentials. It cares about your effort, your consistency, and your willingness to fight through plateaus without switching methods. Old school bodybuilding still beats science-based training. When science becomes paralysis, and old school remains execution. The notebook beat the algorithm. Not because the algorithm was wrong, but because the notebook got used.